Delicious.
Mute on a good note about homemade pickles. Welcome back to DragonPoetSociety, everybody. We're back from our little mini vacation. Don't worry, Alistair, aka Nate, will be right around the corner here pretty soon. Just moving forward, we've got a few new things on the horizon. We got back from our vacation, getting back to our campaign, and we're going to be putting out some more material. For those of you who are watching at home but haven't seen, we're also doing little lore narration videos that have been putting up on YouTube. So look for Lumoria Lore Taster or Dragon Poet Society, or just go to DragonPoetSociety.com for any of that. I'm Nicholas, by the way, to those people who are new. Everyone else should have name tags, but we'll come around as we go. For those of you at home, are audio levels okay? Tell me if not. Tell me anyway. Just say hi anyway. It sounds like Nate's just right around the corner here.
Wellity.
Yep, here he comes. So we'll get into recapping mode here in just a second. Yeah, indeed. Welcome, Nate. So I'm just going to kick up right with recap as Nate's getting settled and stuff like that. Yeah, go ahead and get into that. So, when last we left off, the party was within the depths of the Robin Hood-esque gang hideout that was the Patch Poles in the Salt Pole Canals of the city of Solney. They were in hot pursuit of 3 stolen lumens, which are magical resources that can capture sunlight. Kind of a big deal. They arrived at Patch's the gang leader's rooms and uncovered some of the secrets that were being held within, including one of the key pieces of information that they were after, a tall tiefling woman of dark purple complexion with scars across her face and keys embroidered on her robes. They arrived just in the nick of time to see her and her conspicuous triple bulge sash disappear magically as they arrived. Unfortunately, unable to pursue this conspicuous lead, they were engaged with the other occupants of the room, that being Patches himself, the gang leader, who quickly confronted the party and urged them and threatened them if they did not leave for the concerns about his sister, who was the remaining individual in the room. That she was restrained for her own safety with a kind of affliction that was affecting her, a sort of shadowy necrotic energy through her. And as the confrontation kind of was unable to be de-escalated, combat ensued. The sister freed herself from the bed and attacked the party, and as she was slain, Patches, whose nerves had already been frayed so heavily, claimed his own life. In the somber moments and in the aftermath, finding out through loot and papers, the party discovered that a lot of the Patch Pole's activity in more nefarious, kind of bad reputation kind of experiences were largely because Patches was trying to secure different methodology to cleanse his sister of this affliction. It seems that he was involved with a third party that wanted the lumens in exchange for greater restoration scrolls that they had stolen from the church for him. And he also helped move a group known as the Night Fruits Plenty, move some sort of shipment of a kind that he was worried about. In any case, the aftermath also left ripple effects throughout the rest of the community, which depended on the Patch Poles gang. In fact, the innkeeper, Gretchen, of the Planky Pint Inn, which was the hideout, she approached the party and explained to them that regardless of their intentions, their actions would and have led to an experience that would result in retaliation and the worsening of life for many individuals down here in the Salt Pole Canals. Agreeing to assist her in order to diffuse situations and make up for the negative experiences, the party helped move the local kindly assistant priest, Cassiel, and his sick individuals into the Planky Pint Inn and helped establish it as a new neutral ground for people from various local gangs, street orphans, impoverished individuals, all to come to be at peace and be able to recover and rest and be healed from any ailings that they might be having. Moving forward with requests from Cassiel for further material being presented to assist in this endeavor, the party began to exit the very smelly Salt Pole Canals to the rest of the city of Solney. And as they did, they encountered a rather... before they did, in fact, they encountered and had a meeting with Terrafleas, the local light farming leader, local light farming officer, who wanted the party to secure his missing lumens in the first place. Terraflees heavily implied that the party would be incriminated in the loss of the lumens if they did not help him, and also offered shares in his profits in exchange for retrieving the lumens previously, by the time of the, ideally, mid-year's turning, which is only a few turnings away, or the New Year's turning at the very latest. He also mentioned the unusual fact that of the 3 lumens stolen, only one of them was even partially filled with sunlight, and it was half full. So with these unusual facts, and more questions really than when they started, the team got back to the main streets of Solny. They are in the Revelry Row, full of revel dens, wine sinks, and other locations of partying and debauchery to various levels. And they heard the town's crier stones, their magical announcers, mention that widespread, for the first time in living memory, widespread and serious flickering events, such as what happened to the Patch's sister, struck at nearby towns this far north, which is unheard of in this Radiant Reach nearby Solny. It struck the towns of Bright Meadow, Sunstream, Shimmerleaf, and Tinderbluff. And now, with this grim mood and grim news, the party is preparing to move forward. But before we do that, we also advanced to level 3. So, let's go ahead and have everyone roll their hit dice before we get downtrodden by all the realism in the world. We have to enjoy getting some new hit points. So, standard house rule, you get to re-roll 1s. Otherwise, everyone should be rolling the hit dice as well. So we'll just go around the table. So, Sarah, do you want to start for Flo? D8 for Rogue. You got 5?
Nice.
All right, very nice. And go ahead and add your Constitution modifier as well, so the hit point total. And don't forget to add new hit dice also to use on your short rests. All right, Anetka, go ahead and go next. D6 for Wizard.
6.
Very nice. Woo! Again, add your con. Update your hit dice.
Tank.
Wizard tank.
Wizard tank.
All right, Slate over there. D8 for the Channeler.
8.
Hey, very nice. There you go. Can't complain. You don't roll well on D8s anymore.
Okay.
All right,
No.
D8 for the Artificer.
It's not as good. That's not as good.
What's that?
The dose.
It's a dose. All right. Well, you know,
Use mine. It's pretty.
at least it's more than 0. So, Renastus?
4.
4. Okay. And last but not least, Tennille.
I rolled a 3. So.
3. Okay.
Nice.
Pretty decent spread overall. So let's get new. Can I get new hit point totals from everybody, please? So again, down the line. So we'll go Flo.
20.
20. Nice. Hit the 20 mark. All right.
22.
Anetka, 22.
You have more HP than me.
Yeah, you have a lot
Tank.
more than I do.
Slate.
That's great. I have 28.
28. All right. Feeling great.
Nice.
16.
16 for
That's a
Mr.
problem.
Cackler over there. Okay, well, he's a backliner. It's all good. Renastus.
25.
25. Nice.
Jeez.
And Tennille?
21.
Okay, 21. Hey, pretty much everyone's in the 20s. Sorry, Alistair. But you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. So with
Oh no, I didn't add my con.
You silly boy.
I'm a goofball. We're at 17 now.
Woo! Hey, one hit point makes all the difference sometimes.
When you have that few, yes it does.
All right.
That's
Well,
what Shield of Faith is
with
for.
these
I just got shield back.
turns of event, with these experiences and everything that's been unfolding, and the news that has been resounding through the streets and affecting individuals and their mood, what is everyone doing?
And that, because. No.
Ooh, well, maybe we should find out more about what's going on.
Need to.
Perhaps.
But it's Bright Meadow. I need to go to Bright Meadow.
What time of day is it? Or like, in
Well,
terms of like bedtime versus wake up time.
yeah, so no night and day, obviously, but and the ever-present kind of afternoony sun is coming down, but it has not too many hours since the turnover, since Kronos' turnover.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably been about. You guys spent a little bit waking up and then interacting with Gretchen and Terraflees and Cassiel and moving everything over. So I'd say that's probably a couple hours. So I'd say you've been awake probably for about 4 hours into the day, 3-4 hours into the day.
Okay.
The day is young. Plenty of time for something to go wrong. I didn't actually say that. That was just.
I know.
So,
We were in Revelry Row, right?
yep, that's correct. Oh, careful with the table.
Trying for a race and it's not going well.
I need like slates and stuff. Slates for slate. Yes, we're in Revelry Row, just on the border between three. It kind of cuts through three different wards or districts within the city. Between the Tradestow ward of trade and merchant work, the Guildwater stalls with the docks and warehouses, and then the salt poles where you guys just were, sort of slums of the city.
How, hearing Anika talking about Bright Meadow, how would I know how far away that is?
Yeah, you would have at least a rough idea. It's about a couple days travel.
A couple days.
A couple turnings travel. Yeah, it's not immediately.
Okay.
It's just shy of about 50 miles.
Okay.
So if you made a really fast pace, you can maybe make it in a day and a half, or with mounts faster.
Okay. What's in Bright Meadow?
Shouldn't have left. Shouldn't have left. Shouldn't have left them. Shouldn't have left. But they did. And shouldn't have left.
Alright, fucking mess indeed.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We missed your mimicry. This is going to be a fun campaign.
And you're just mumbling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Does anyone know anything about Bright Meadow? She's not answering me.
I don't know too much about it. And I'll put my tattered, blood-stained and orange speckled coat around Anetka.
Shouldn't have left them. Yeah, but
Who's them?
shouldn't have left my parents. Shouldn't have left them there. Should have just stayed back.
There's family over there?
Family over there.
She's the new Kenku.
Shouldn't have. No, she's strong. She might have survived. But, Mommy? Mommy?
Maybe we could flag someone down to send a message, or what can we do to help?
I need to leave. Right beds. I need to leave. I need to go. I need to leave.
So you guys are in a pretty busy section of the city. Revelry Row always sees a lot of attention. It cuts through a big swath of the city, miles, about a mile. And it seems like there's maybe a little more visitation to some of the revel dens after this news, especially this soon into the day. There's always people coming and going, and it's a main thoroughfare though too. So even if people aren't visiting the local entertainments, they are still often using those routes to travel, especially from the warehouse areas to the Tradestow ward. So you can easily see a lot of individuals, a lot of grim faces, and people just kind of going about their business. You also notice there are a couple more guard patrols. The Souls Guard, with their sort of sun badge emblem on them, are out more in force and things like that. But that's what you're at least immediately noticing without looking around. You're just noticing it's a packed area that seems a little more normal foot traffic for those of you who are city locals.
Okay, are we like a rock in a river, and that we're people are having to part around us?
At the moment, I just had you guys. We had left off, and I had imagined that you guys were just staying on the side of the salt poles, the salt pole canals, because there's land sections of it that aren't just dock, that attach to the city itself, and right where that crossover, Revelry Road divides the wards. So you're sort of on the saltwater side of it still.
Okay. Is there a guard nearby?
Yeah, there are a couple. Make a perception check for me, actually.
13?
Yeah, so there are some guards nearby. The nearest pair that you see, it looks like, is standing just a little bit back from a third guard, and they're usually trios for patrols. That seems to be accosting / interviewing somebody, rather to your eye what looks like a rather slovenly dressed individual who's sort of saying like, I ain't seen nothing. Could have been anything. Could have been a blob. Could have been a big shadow. I ain't seen nothing.
I would like to approach and like really laying it on thick, like with my walking stick, like like walking towards them.
Okay, they're only about 10 feet away, but it takes you a while because you're selling the act a little bit.
I'll follow with and mimic the old man noises.
And then I'll like, gotta lean. You have a stick?
Yeah, you're right now. You're wearing a big, bright white robe with a bunch of colorful patches all over it too, because that's what.
I'm not selling it. Maybe go back.
The guards are like sort of interviewing, and they're like, "Well, if you see anything, please, we need to know. We'll remember you." And they kind of are starting to walk away from the guy, and he's kind of like, spitting on the ground and clearly disdainful of the whole situation. He's like, "That's what I thought." Yeah.
So the guy is staying, but the guards are leaving?
The guards are sort of moving on, and you can tell that they're kind of interviewing various people, particularly on the salt poles side of things. There's kind of a semi-aqueous crowd of salt pole-looking people on your side of the street.
Okay.
That are forming, and it seems like the guards are kind of going past and interviewing a few of them. Some are dispersing. Some maybe orphans are darting back and forth trying to pickpocket what they can. So are you pursuing the guards, or?
Yeah, I'll try to. Excuse me, you there.
Okay. It takes you maybe a couple tries to call out because you're hearing the bustle and movement of the city that you're still trying to get over,
I'll smack my stick on the ground like an old man.
one of the guards turns around. It's a lady, and she's like, Sergeant, I think there's an old timer here who wants to speak with. Oh, very good, Jessen. All right. And he's like, let's get this over with. And he turns around. He's still a youngish looking guy, human, as far as you can tell. He's wearing the sort of chainmail vest, and then over it sort of a tabard with the city's crest, sort of soul, sun emblem, and then like the badge, one stripe on it, indicating rank. He comes forward, and he says, "Yes, sir."
Hello, ordained keeper of the peace. I find
One of the guys says, "That's a new one."
I find myself to be a bit confused about the hubbub going around and the whisperings of a meadow bright. What could you help an old man understand?
That'd be Bright Meadow.
Oh,
Sir, yes, one of the
Bright
local
Meadow.
towns that was, in fact, struck by the recent Flicker attack. The Crierstones should be sending out another announcement shortly, but there's nothing to fear, sir, if you are worried about your safety. The well-being of all Radiant Reach citizens is primary concern, and will be held with utmost
I don't
focus.
care for my personal safety. I know you would do everything you can to keep me safe. I'm worried about my arch nemesis.
Okay, go ahead and make a deception check.
That's an old game, old mental. My old chess arch nemesis, and
Go ahead and make your deception check.
I would very much like to hear that he's been affected.
You said deception?
Yeah.
11?
He kind of looks. He kind of cocks his head, and the lady guard is just like, and you can tell they're gonna get a story out of this one. But the lead sergeant guard says, "Well, flickers are very serious for everybody, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone."
You don't know Tobias.
Well, be that as it may, Tobias is my name.
He cheats.
Well, I don't cheat at chess. Beside the point. My current patrol, my fellow Souls Guard and I here are investigating local concerns about some nefarious activity, criminal activity from an exterior southern gang of the Shaded Reach that supposedly was sighted here not too long ago. So do you know anything about that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then I'm afraid I'm going to have to be moving on. We have a schedule, but I can assure you that Bright Meadow was affected and that it is a problem. But if you're looking for more information, you can wait for the crier stones, which should be... And you hear that, like, one of the nearby small blue obelisks cracks open with its mouth. It says, look, there you go. And from it, the mouth opens, and you see sort of the Tannoy female announcer voice that says, as we work to combat the southern shadow and nefarious acts that have been led to these flickers, Solney, the Glimmer Council, and the Church remain vigilant in their fight against the shadow. You have nothing to fear so long as you stand with the light of Solney. Citizens, please remain calm during this time. The light of Solney shall shine through. And you get the repeated announcement as well. It repeats the announcement regarding the attacks, or the flicker attacks or strikes on Bright Meadow, Sunstream, Tinderbluff, and Shimmerleaf.
Okay.
Sir, it seems that as the Crier Stones just announced, there isn't much that you need to worry about, and you can be sure that whatever happens, the Souls Guard and the Glimmer Council will ensure everyone's safety.
Well, Tobias Jr., if you see Tobias Sr., you kick him in the shin for me, and with that I'll just walk back and
You just hear the lady guard, Jesson. She's... We'll do that! I'll make sure he does! And they turn and walk off. To Neil, as this Tannoy announcement, the Crier Stone shuts after repeating its messages, you hear a sort of whispering sound in your ears, just like behind your left ear, and it comes with a sort of greenish tinge around like your vision, and it says, as a reminder to all enrolled Lorebright parties, Lorebright concerning the flickers or the histories of the Duovian Greatreach are worth premium Lorebright value during this time. Thank you.
Oh, sick.
That was kind of creepy.
So only you heard. That
Okay.
was just in your mental.
Okay, I want to try not to react to the strange voices in my head while I'm standing in the middle of the
What we all
street.
do.
You get used to it.
Anetka started frantically stress knitting. It's not going well. Everything's getting tangled and stitches are dropping.
Okay. Hey, Kat, do you mind moving your glass? It's actually perfectly blocking the camera view of Nate.
No, leave it.
Did we hear any of Renostus's conversation? I'm gonna guess we did.
Yeah, a few of you might have been a little distracted.
Okay.
But a few of you did hear Renostus's revealing of his arch nemesis, and the wishing of shin kicking upon him.
Okay. Well, after the message, and I'm seeing Anika just stressed, I'm gonna go over and lean down because you're really short, right?
5 foot, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna lean down, put my hands on your shoulders, look you. What is in Bright Meadow?
My family.
Okay.
I need to make sure they're safe.
Okay. I might be able to find a way. Just follow me. Oops, sorry. Sorry. And then I'm gonna kind of I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna walk towards home.
Okay. So you're beelining off in a northerly direction from this situation. You're crisscrossing traffic, and you see a couple courtesans around the outside of the revel dens, wearing very translucent fabrics, and they all wear the characteristic two-color mask and feathers of a smiling face, the smiling face of the reveler, and you sort of are getting solicited as this individual's like, hey, you want to come on over?
I just head down, just keep going.
All right, so you're moving past. So what's the rest of the party doing? You guys following?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do they also say that like tempt us
Um,
as we're walking by?
Lord.
Nicholas?
Just say no. Just say no.
that individual does not, but a neighboring revel den kind of says Like, oh, come now, come dry your sorrows. Here at the Quench Bench, we'll quench any thirst you have. Come along for drink, for familial conversation, for gambling, and of course, companionship. Come now, you'll have the look of a weary individual. And it's this very ornately dressed tiefling man. And his horns are adorned with lots of dangly jewelry and stuff like that. Kind of a classic red-skinned tiefling individual. He's a little bulkier and stuff like that, but otherwise looks pretty handsome for it. So
I'm like tugging on her nostrils, like.
Oh no, they have terrible beer there. Tastes like piss water.
Tastes like piss.
So you carry on without too much worry. As you're heading through the city, you're kind of angling, because if you went straight north, you kind of run right into the Whitewater Square, the center watery island in the center of the city. So you're kind of angling away a little bit more inward towards the Tradestow, Glint Top Wards, Tradestow Ward, that region, which is sort of a northeasterly direction before you'd have to revamp to the northern areas, because you're heading where you're heading. So, as you do, you guys are passing through a large series of market area, including many merchant shops, carts, and other things like that. And there's a convergence of traders and things like that, people coming up from the southern gate, kind of converging and whirling, as you might expect on a busy trade time, and people kind of setting up some of their stores or just having finished setting up some of their stores. Just in the immediate vicinity, you pass, a couple of things like a bookstore, a map store, a cartographer, that kind of stuff. And then, you have like sort of a, come, it's Fruitman Dan, come get fruit at Fruitman Dan's fruit cart. Nice, tasty fruits. It'll settle you.
Are there any, as I'm like...
No, that's at the Quench Bench.
Sorry.
At a Quench, yeah. As I'm like, focused, are there any like places where I could potentially sell a scimitar that might draw my attention for a moment and just like dart in and sell it and keep going?
So you're looking for a place to sell a...
If it's on the path. Like, I'm not looking specifically, but if a place that would buy a scimitar crosses my path, I'm going to sell the ones I stole.
Okay. I mean, you do come across some general stores. They're kind of out of your way, though.
Okay.
And you know that the primary sort of metal smithing and armoring kind of trade is more in the southwestern corners of... when I said eastern before, I meant northwestern. The opposite. But anyway,
yeah, that's okay.
in the southwestern section of where the Tradestow Ward meets the Glint Top Ward, that's kind of where a lot of the armoring and stuff like that is, right by the southern gate.
Okay. It's not a worry.
Unfortunately, not really right in your path.
That's not a worry.
So it'll take you several hours on foot to get where you're going.
Okay.
The rest of the party is following along. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to do as you're passing these various shops and Fruitman Dan and the different general stores and things like that? You see a Scoven money lending stall, which is pretty common throughout the city. You see various shops and things like that as you're moving along. So is there anything you guys wanted to stop for? Or are you all just following Taniel in his path through the city?
I'm gonna go to Fruitman Dan and get something.
Oh, my first customer of the day! It's so nice to see you. What are you having? You having pears, exotic fruits, mangoes? What would you like?
I'm gonna grab a Nika and be like, pick something out to feel better, and like very awkwardly like shove her forward because I don't know what to do with her. Pick something out.
I'm gonna ask him like, is it a stand where there's like stuff laid out in a row?
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, what are these fruits over here? And when I'm putting it on that side, can I like snatch something from the left side and like put it in my pocket?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Kids these days.
Annetka's just gonna grab, be very confused by this and just grab, the first fruit she sees.
And how much?
14? Yeah, you snag a particularly spiny-looking fruit, and you're kind of like wince as you tuck it into your pocket a little bit. Yeah, and what you're pointing to is kind of what looks like a dragon fruit type fruit, except it's like neon blue. And he says, "Oh yes, that's one of the underdragon fruits in the farms right beneath the city. In fact, it's made into a rather lovely and mild wine, but tastes nice and sharp. It's very good in the mouth. For that, it'll be 5 copper."
Okay, I'll pay for that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna what type of fruit was it again?
Under farm dragon fruit.
Under farm dragon fruit. I'm gonna hand it to her and like awkwardly pat her on the head and just keep walking.
Oh well, pleasure doing business. Thank you.
Just wait. You can keep on.
He's a bald kind of guy. He's kind of indeterminate age. A lot of wrinkles on his face, very sun-bathed.
Would we pass any shops that would have like a place I could get like a satchel or something like that?
Yeah, there's many general stores.
Okay, I was going to one of those.
Okay. You enter a particular store. Let me move over to my section notes. But you enter a particular store known as Tristafen's general store. It's a rather smaller store than what you're used to. You come across, it seems like, so you would know at least a little bit about how most of the general stores are run as a chain. This looks like an individual runoff store. So it's separate from the chain of standard stores, and it's a little bit smaller, a little bit slighter, kind of a new up-and-coming type store. Give me 1 second, I'll be able to find the notes that I made about this. The general stores are normally run, are known as Goods and Gains. They're run by the Athamers. Are you catching this?
Yes.
That is the normal that you'd be able to see, and you do see one of those. It's not too far off from where you're at, but you did enter this particular store. And Tristafen, or the individual who you think is Tristafen, or would you assume to be Tristafen, is there. The store overall is like scrunched between two buildings, kind of appealing to your maybe liking to stay in the smaller side areas. Looks to be a like recently renovated area. It's right on Clinkstone Street. Inside, there's a lot of neat cubbies and sort of well-tended gear of a general store. A few of them hold like chests or wrapped bundles, and they all have like price tags on them. As sort of a youngish man snaps to attention, like as soon as you enter. Human, male, and sort of a pointed face. He says, "Oh yes, welcome in. Hi, I'm Tristafen. Yes, Tristafen. What can I interest you in, my friend? My feathered friend? What would be of most interest? We're just getting some new shipments. I'm actually waiting for some more shipments later today. But anyway, what can I offer you? I'm sure we can make a deal."
I'm gonna pull out just my notepad and just write down satchel ?
Oh, yes, a satchel. Absolutely. I can sell such a thing to you. But if you would like, I can also interest you in one of these secret satchels over here. And he kind of gestures in a bouncy way to a few of the wrapped bundles that are in like satchel sacks.
Satchel in a satchel.
He says, well, these are secret satchel bundles. They cost 35 gold each, and you never know what you could get, but you're guaranteed to get some good value, so you never know. I mean, of course, it's a fun little thing that I'm doing to kind of edge into the market here. I'm a little new, but if you would like it, yeah, 35 gold.
Renastus came in with him, and is there windows?
There's one window.
Okay, I'm gonna be
and it's a
looking
little muddy looking, like a little dirty, but
I
yeah.
just want to keep eyes on Tennille et al. So that we don't get left behind.
Okay,
I would say noticing that they broke off, I'm just kind of standing there, arms crossed, like tapping my foot.
And I'll like wave out the window.
Nice.
Flo will stroll in.
Okay.
Why not?
That sounds like
Anetka has just straight up bitten into the dragon fruit, like just really distracted.
Okay.
What's the piece of fruit that I stole?
It's a pinefish fruit.
Pinefish fruit.
Tastes just like pinefish.
Can I just like?
Actually, yeah.
Can I just?
Well,
Into
it's
it?
covered in barbs, so that would be
it's the barbs.
inadvisable.
Okay.
But
I'll
it
just
is.
keep it in my binder for now.
Yeah. It's very sharp. You know, it like tastes like blue raspberry. You know, it doesn't really exist anywhere else in the world. It's just like a unique, weird thing. The juices are even like a whitish, bluish color. Very unusual, but maybe that's a product of being grown underground.
Mm-hmm. She'll give some to the snail.
Classic.
As you pull out the snail, you notice that it's kind of weakened the integrity of your pack. Its acidic juices are kind of, and slime is kind of dissolving some of the pack. You know, you've caught it in time for it to not like, but maybe it might reduce the integrity if you carry something heavy. So, but the snail otherwise just like, and it just like seems to be at least enjoying it as far as you can tell. Yeah.
Could you tell us what your return policy is like?
I'm sorry, but there's no return policy. A new up-and-coming business. I can't really, manage that kind of thing. It's all me over here.
Like a blind bag sheet where I know which satchels might be included and the relative rarity.
That's part of the fun. It's an adventure in and of itself.
I'm gonna start
Can I
walking
do-
towards the front counter and just kind of like.
Hello,
sit on it.
miss. It's nice to see you, and what a great radiant appearance you have about you. Truly, and he's like laying it on. And you, sir, such a dapper fellow, and colorful individual over here. I'm so happy to see customers here. Would you be interested in the secret satchel?
I'm gonna pull out my scimitar and like cut my throat open.
Oh, please, miss. I just polished the floors. Could you please take that outside? And the juices are like.
It's fine.
It's
I'm
like-
gonna like start like eating it.
So this is like, imagine like a pomegranate, but it like bleeds as if it's like an arterial wound with like gushing juice. It's like.
I'm like,
got
don't
fishes
worry
frozen.
about it. I can fix it.
And he's like, just please.
I'm just gonna like keep eating my fruit.
And he goes, to grab him. I'll be right back. And he's got his little mop. He's like, swabbing his face.
Before he does that, can I take some water from my water skin and do shape water to try and like clean it up?
Oh, I'm a magician. Well, there's.
it's not magic. It's just a thing.
Well,
It's just the water. I just threw it on the floor. It's fine.
I feel like that's
No,
magic.
I
Is that
don't
not
know
magic?
what you saw. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Go ahead and make a deception check.
When he's describing this deal to us, do I get the sense that he actually thinks it's a good deal?
Make an insight check.
I also do the same.
Yeah.
Sick.
We'll figure out what happens.
Oh, it's a stellar deal.
We get swindled both.
We're getting mad swindle.
What'd you get?
11.
11? He seems genuine.
Okay.
He's really excited to have people in his store.
It's better than I got.
I don't know. if
What'd you
we're gonna
get?
have This kind of
Like,
opportunity.
I think insight, you said?
Yeah.
Like 6 or 7.
Okay. I mean, it seems genuine to you.
Excellent.
He said, "Oh well, if you are of magical persuasion, I have a bit of a referral deal for 5% off with clean casting over yonder, the magic shop, located not too far on the corner of intermixings of where the trade stow ward meets the sort of southeastern section of the jewels ward, so right around that area.
Like a coupon or something?
1 minute, and he like ducks under his thing, and you hear like a tearing sound, and he like quickly scratches his initials on 5% and like a smiley face, and he hands it to you.
Ah, how sweet.
And he like pulls it back at the last. He pulls it back at the last second, only with a purchase though.
Oh, with a purchase.
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, we gotta get things going. I'm competing with the local businesses. Well, you did dirty my floors for me. Yes, sir.
Young man, might I propose a business venture? Listen, hear
Do
me
you
out.
still want your sack, sir?
We will. I speak on behalf of my associate.
I'm like crackling little fireballs between my fingers.
My associate and I are interested in a sort of brand ambassadorship where you sponsor us for a discount on your product, and in return, we will spread the good word about. What's his name again?
I'm gonna crack whatever his name was.
Tristafen.
Tristafen.
About Tristafen's fine wares throughout all of
Our journeys.
all of our journeys. All of our journeys. Thank you.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check. We'll have both of you make it
Yes.
since you're kind of assisting.
Oh,
Yes.
Campaign's about to change. I can feel it in my bones. All right, Cackler, how'd you do?
21.
I got 19.
Okay.
Answers.
Are you? Wow. So sometimes when I set, little behind the scenes, sometimes when I set two people to do a thing, I just combine the DC. And no joke, I said in my head like, okay, DC 40.
Yes.
So, like, average of 20. You gotta get a 20 for this. He kind of, like, takes a second. He says, you know, well, I am new, and this Lord Bright program, you know, does have an opportunity. Just 1 minute here. And he kind of ducks again, and you hear of tearing parchment, and he slaps it up, and he's quickly, like, scratching out. I'm just drafting up a quick contract. If you'd like, we can sign a deal, and you could be Tristafen brand ambassadors, as you said, for this situation. For every 10 referrals that you bring in with your name. Do you have a group name?
What group?
Artifices.
From the Artifices, and he writes it in, for every 10 that you get in, I will give you...
We have to workshop that name.
I will give you 10% off your purchases here, for every 10 that you bring in, up to 50%, and then a purchase resets the deal. Does that sound fair?
Oh, Tristafen, I'm gonna have to be honest.
It's Tristafen.
Tristafen.
I wonder what they're up to in there.
My family might
We
be
are.
dead.
We gotta save them. Yeah, they're really taking a while in there.
How long have they been in there?
It's been like 10 minutes now as they're
I-
discussing back and forth.
Anatka has wrapped Mrs. Slimy in Renostus's coat and put her back in her bag.
It's gone, man. It's gone.
Okay.
I will be honest with you. We are what you might call those who like to influence other people. And we, in a positive way, like getting the word out about products.
Yes, that's the
And
idea, yes.
It's a great service that we provide.
Uh-huh.
At the minimum, we would request 20% off.
Make another persuasion check.
Did we just start a multi-level marketing scheme?
Yeah, that was
it.
my one-shot character idea.
I roll 2.
I got a 6.
Well, what was your name again?
My name is Ron Ostis.
Well, Renostus.
You
Of
can
the
call me
Artifices.
Name pending.
Name pending. TM. If there is a... Perhaps we can renegotiate after you bring in your first 10. Why don't we just start with the first 10, and then we can renegotiate after that. How does that sound? Okay, I'm gonna need. I'll get on the branding of the whole ordeal, and make sure that you guys have uniforms matching under my brand name.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
I'll have that absolutely. I'll have that ready and pretty. Maybe within the next 10 turnings or so.
What year are we? What are we in right now?
Okay, so the year is 430 AC.
That is so 429. What people like to do now is they want to be approached as an equal. They don't necessarily want to know that I'm working for you.
Ah.
It's non-disclosed.
Yes, well, for now at least. Fair enough.
Business cards would do, I think, in today's modern society.
Those are pending. Those are, and then you hear him say, "Get." He like tries to stash his hand, which he wrote that on. He's like sweating. He's like, "Well, this is a very exciting deal. Did you steal your satchel?" Tell you what, as a token of a bargain well struck, I will allow a secret satchel purchase for a mere 5 gold. That's a steal.
I slap it on the table.
Okay. But
There are
10
two of
referrals
us.
are in our future.
There are 2 of us, though. Can we do?
You can share at that price. Oh, you're gonna ruin me, please. This is at least 30 gold in value.
But if they see both of us having a satchel, they'll be like, "Those look very cool."
It's what's in the satchel. It's just what's in the satchel. Please.
very, very well, Tristafen.
Tristafen!
I
Those
think
cards, dude.
I got it.
you have struck a fine deal, and you won't regret
I
it.
hope so. Well, good. Here's your, and he kind of pulls one of the bundles and hands it to you. Enjoy. Best of luck to you. Open it when there's lots of people around and tell them where you got it.
I'll go in for a handshake.
Yep. This is interesting.
Yeah, me too.
I like pat him on the back with like a smile and like walk out the door.
Making a note.
And I'll sling
Tristafen's marketing deal.
And I'll sling the satchel over my shoulder and just like walk out all pleased.
Okay. Do you open it right away?
Let's
What's
open it
in
right when
the
we get outside.
box?
Yeah, let's open it when we get outside.
Right outside. Okay. Roll a d4 for me.
D4? Alright.
Yeah. A 1. Inside, so it's a sack or satchel. Inside, there's a lock, like a padlock.
Yeah.
There's a block and tackle. 10 bars of soap. A 2-person shade cloth tent.
Oh.
And a healer's kit. A bell, and a flask of oil.
That's a lot. Alright.
Not bad.
It's almost like they're 35
I'll
gold
put it all
value.
Yeah.
I need to write things down.
Why were you buying fishing supplies? We need to leave.
We might get hungry along the way, and there could be a stream. Luck favors the prepared.
I look at you. You killed
So
my
this
sheep.
isn't, sorry, this isn't fishing tackle. It's a block,
block
and
and
tackle.
tackle,
So
sorry.
it's to
Not
lift.
line and tackle.
It's it's to help lift things that are heavy.
We might need to lift something that's obstructing our path.
I'm gonna look at the bell and just kind of reach out,
Oh yes.
ding.
You can. Do you need a ding ding?
Yes.
Nate, that's 1 for the record books right there.
Nicholas, I've already
This is
gotten
the
quite a few
second
of those.
time you have run into trouble with that spell. Remember Claudius Ding Dong did necrotic damage?
Thank you for watching Dragon Poet Society.
Apparently
Either
we're all
do or not.
5. Who knew?
Apparently, we're all
I
5.
mean, 12? Can we make that 12?
All right.
Okay, so while you guys are doing all that, those of you who are outside the store, which I believe is Tanil, Slate, and Anetka, what are you guys doing? You're noticing that they're, taking their time.
Actually would.
Cackler comes out and unwraps his gift and is, doing that. You're.
I'm gonna take the bell.
you're ta-
I
alright.
want the bell.
Okay, do you let her take the bell?
Yeah.
Okay, bell. So what are you guys doing? Is there anything you want to keep an eye
Oh,
out
yeah.
for? Or things you're looking at?
As she's singing the bell, I'm just gonna hold my hand out.
I'll look expectantly.
I'm just gonna put it in my pocket and just keep walking the direction I've been walking.
I'm like holding this. I was like,
Oh, you can hold it though.
Nice.
Actually,
I was gonna say, like, before we embarked upon that adventure, I was gonna look around, see if anyone's following us.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
look at you doing something smart.
Right.
Yeah, I guess Vanetka now has that she'll probably try to take Renostis's coat and sort of make it into like something she can hold over her shoulder so it's not like in her backpack.
Okay. Is
With
that
the
still with the snail?
With
Yeah.
the snail.
What was your perception total?
19.
You get this sort of preternatural sense of, when you're like seeing something out of the corner of your eye, stuff like that. It's like that, but auditory, or at least you think it's auditory. But you're sort of getting the sense that there's something
present.
just like adjacent, not too far. It doesn't seem to be like following. You can't make any visual contact, but you get the feeling, and it's almost like someone like tapped you mentally on the shoulder to make you aware of it.
Okay.
Do that as well.
So you guys have exited the shop with your secret satchel of goodies.
Right on. Tanil, if you would like to lead the way, we'd be happy to follow.
He's already gone.
Oh,
He's off with his bell.
yeah, that's right. We're gonna follow after him.
Just follow.
At least
Okay.
now we can hear him as we walk.
I like the idea that he's just ringing the bell.
Shame, yeah.
So you guys are noticing,
Bear bell.
the Souls Guard are out in more force than normal, for sure. You see a more reinforced set of, as you guys are passing up sort of the western side of the Whitewater Square Bridge, that western bridge there, you notice that in addition to its normal guards, there seem to be extra guards stationed on either side of the bridge, doing checks of people who are allowed to go over. You guys are heading over and moving past through the Trades Toe Ward with its hustle and bustle, and you're kind of moving into the sections. You're passing more stores. Here a general store, a lending store, maybe some clothing stores, cartographer, reagents, apothecary, all sorts, right? And you're heading into the Glint Top Ward with all of its sort of shimmer stone, sun-catching stone buildings on its tops. you moving forward through those. Here, it's a lot more artisans and craftsmen, individuals who create different furniture, things like that. That's kind of the section of that you're passing. But eventually, you come through Toniel's lead, who seems to clearly know where he's going, heading to, and then veering around through some of the roads that cut into the swooping estates that are in the Jewels Ward. This is the wealthy part of town. Manicured lawns and trees, little streams with bridges going over them. And the roads are much more meandery here. There are shops in little clusters and clumps, but they seem to be high-priced jewelry, specialized clothing and tailoring, what seems to be like a fabrics store, what looks like a high-priced auctioneering store or shop, things like that you're moving past. And you're moving, actually kind of plowing again back on the more easterly side of things, where it might once again rejoin. So you've done kind of like this C shape here in the city around its center island to get to what seems to be the easternmost section of the Jewels Ward, where it meets the Guildwater Stalls. Right across the street would be the Guildwater Stalls, across Scoven Street. There you come to a manor of some description. It's very lavish by many standards, but after you've passed several already, it's maybe not as much as you would expect. Ostentatious, but not ostentatious amongst this ostentatiousness, if that makes sense. Subdued ostentatiousness. Yeah. In the distance, you see the multi-tiered, almost kind of think out of world, thinking like an Asian castle, the sort of multi-tiered flanged building like that, of the Masked Palace. This is the revel den of all revel dens, and is also doubling as the temple to the reveler. But what you guys are more focused on is following Toniel at the moment and getting to the manor. And what you notice about this is it has a small bridge leading over a stream, which kind of broadens into the overall area. Manicured gardens. You can see a few guards around wearing a kind of unusual emblem that you're not quite familiar with. You can't see really easily. And then people kind of tending the lawn, very immaculate. Things like that, some trees hanging, and then the major building itself, which is a large, what looks like 3-story manor with an additional sort of adjacent tower spiraling up on the western side. Very ornate. Some stained glass windows, handsome door of what looks like a black and white woods combined, and almost like a swirl pattern. And Toniel seems to know where he's going, so he's heading on. So what's everyone else doing? Everyone following? Or Toniel, what are you doing as you're
I'm marching right inside.
Okay.
Nearest door.
Let me find the right sections. What do with my life?
Just for the record, while we were literally the entire journey as we were going, I was just saying, go to Tristafen's, and then tell them Artifices sent you.
Sounds good. Okay.
Roll a d20.
Roll a d100.
Oh gosh.
How many people did I get? D100.
Yeah. Okay. So you're marching right in, and you're seeing the guards clock you and your accompaniment here. And one of them, who's really fresh-faced looking guy, kind of starts forward, and the other one puts his hand out and on his chest and is and you head on in. And do you knock or just push your way in?
I'm just gonna open the door. If it bounces against the wall and slams, even better. But just walk in and just start yelling, "Uncle!" and just start yelling.
Okay. So you enter in, and you guys see a very lavish-looking, almost like chessboard layout floor of tile, black and white. But instead of black and white, you're actually noticing it's closer to a dark shaded purple and a strong whitish gold. tile floor. This entryway area has sort of like where you'd hang coats and things like that. And it looks like there's a spiral sort of marble staircase winding up and out to the western side of the building, and then like adjacent doors that are shut. Quite quickly, you hear steps coming down the stairway, the marble stairway, to come toward you, and they're eager steps, kind of coming down, tap 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 tap. And you see what appears to be a sort of bright and youngish-looking elf, more around kind of where Taniel is at in age, maybe pre-100, which for them is quite young. High elven in cast of features, very sharp-featured, kind of a boyish smile on his face, bright, pleasantly pale skin, and really striking sapphire eyes. And he says, "Hello, cousin! It's good to have you back. There's been so much happening. Father's just in his study, as always, as you know. I'm sure he'll come at your request. Who are all your friends? Newcomers. Hello. I forget my manners. I am Lutheus Kilnara." And he kind of does like a little half bow.
I'm gonna go up.
Same.
Gonna go up and it's good to see you, Lulu, and give him a little like one-armed hug.
Oh, no. He kind of like giving you like a one-arm back. He's like, we should talk.
These are my friends. I guess this is.
Oh, how wonderful!
This is Flo, Anitka, Slate, Renastus, and the esteemed Cackler.
The esteemed Cackler. Well, it is good to know that we are among esteemed company here. I'm sure Father is not too far away, but for those of you who have not been here before, which I believe, aside from Taniel, is all of you, I am one of the youngest members of the Kilnara family. Our father, Galen, will be with us shortly, but perhaps we can proceed to the sitting room? And he kind of gestures to the one door that's kind of on the western side of the hall.
Lead the way.
Of course. And he kind of opens it up. Again, really plush, kind of comfy-looking couch and chairs. Decanter on the coffee table kind of deal, with some amber-looking liquid in it, glasses around, that kind of stuff. Please sit. Would you care for a drink?
No. Lou, have you heard anything about the Flickers? What happened?
Yes.
What the state of the villages is?
Well, we have heard the announcements, and Father, you know how he is, likes to stay connected, family name and all that. He has been researching, I think, nonstop since the announcement's been out, but I'm sure he'll make an exception to come and see you. As far as specifics, it's a little too soon to have said anything, but it is certainly disturbing to us all having it come so far north. I'm sure there's many theories abound. Lots of talk of it maybe being from a southern attack versus naturally occurring. I'm not really sure. But how are you holding up? Has Father been pushing you again?
You know, I have made some choices.
Yeah. I heard a little bit about that. It must have been kind of hard. But I'm glad that you're helping out some of the...
Pull my cuffs down a bit to hide what's on my hands.
Yeah. He notices but doesn't say anything.
Okay.
He's well, I'm glad that you're helping out. I know Castiel has a really good reputation. I actually read one of his books back when he wrote some of the medical texts. But your room is there and dark as ever if you wanted to go visit upstairs. But, Father! And as you guys are sitting, you notice a very tall, lanky, and, like, really scholarly, immaculately dressed individual. Like, even Renastus didn't quite have the same, like, vest and tie with robe combination. It's kind of a weird combination, but he sort of pulls it off. His elven ears are the only part of him that has jewelry, which is just like at the tips of his ears. He's got spectacles on, really small ones that like just cover the bridge of his pointy nose. He's got dark raven hair, and he says, "Well, it is good that you're back, Taniel. I think a lot has happened in the last few turnings. Perhaps some things that there are to talk about, but it seems that you have brought guests. A round of introductions?
Oh, what manner of beverage was available? I didn't get clarification on that when it was offered.
Ah, yes. Well, Lutheus, would you like to do the honors? He's like, oh, yes, Father, of course. And he kind of pours out, this is a rather nice far brand brandy.
Oh, excellent. I would love a glass, please.
Over here too, yes.
Very well. And for the lady, kind of hands out.
I like give him a wink when I grab the drink from him.
And he's a little like... but...
I'll go around and introduce everyone to my uncle. And
yes, and I am Galen Kilnara. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am one of the...
So esteemed.
you are still the esteemed Gaffler.
Let's go.
And then I'm gonna kind of grab Anika and like awkwardly pull her forward and like have her stand next to me and be like, her family lives in Bright Meadow. What news of Bright Meadow?
Yes, well, I'm sorry to hear that. It seems initial understanding, again, this is early days, initial understanding is that there is a much wider spread to these attacks than what we know of so far, striking on a larger scale in these locations. So far, no one has yet made it back, but that is largely due to proximity and time rather than any kind of dire circumstance just as of yet. Information was gained via magical means shared between particular officials. In any case, perhaps we ought to take this discussion up to my study, where I can give a few more pieces of information. But please know that I'm happy to lend aid however I'm able. There may be books of some kind that might interest you in giving you some additional perspective, or perhaps some travel arrangements. I can arrange for you to stay at a few roadside inns if that's what is necessary. I know there's a shrine to Alito not too far from the midway point, so perhaps you could make a stop there.
That
Very charitable.
be helpful to you.
Yes, that would. Both the books and the travel, I think, would be quite helpful.
Why don't we make it up to the study and library? And he kind of gestures, and Lutheus wrenches open the next door, and he's like gallantly gesturing for Flo, especially as moving through to go to the sort of library study area. It's a spiraling tower that you guys are going up into, and you realize what looks like you first get to the sort of main library area, which is this tall tower with rolly ladders, that go very high up, and then several chairs, reading areas, fireplace, that kind of thing. Lots of lights spread around, and then a big book with a quill and inkwelling says, yes, well, if you'd like to check anything out, just write it down on the ledger, your name, and then return it, please, within a few turnings. That would be excellent. But in any case, on to the study. And if you... In fact, why don't all of you wait here for just a moment and browse, if you will. I'd like a word with Tennille.
Did he, when he... Sorry, you may have said it. Did he have a title?
No, not an official title
Okay.
that he announced. He just announced himself as Galen Kilnara, and sort of placed a lot of emphasis on the surname, which you would recognize as nobility.
I don't know if there's like lordships or...
There are, but it's and there are titles and things like that, but he doesn't hold an official title as far as he announced.
Okay.
And he sort of gestures up for you to head up to his study.
Head on up in the study.
Well, Tennille, it seems that you've gotten rather busy over the last few turnings. Enrolled in this Lore-Bright program, and he kind of lifts a sheaf of paper, like he's reading little things. And so I'm told involved in a few activities in the southern part of the city. But I'm glad that you're making acquaintances, at least.
Yeah, they're acquaintances.
That's good. That's a good start. I'm sure you're as verbalizing as ever.
He's got the look of a kid who, like, has heard lectures before and is just kind of staring straight ahead of, like, you know.
Well, on this program, it seems like the Lore-Bright program, you understand, by enrolling, may give you some unique opportunities to pursue study, which I know was always your favorite. It's a focus of interesting topics with it, these flickers striking so far north. Other subjects as well, old histories. It's a good opportunity for you to seek your potential, which I'm glad you're starting to at least put there out into the world.
Just the cuffs again.
Yes, exactly. In any case, my benefactors are requiring of me some specific discretion within the city's bounds. Different forces among the nobility are at play, as ever they are, but more notable of late. If it comes up with, what did you say her name was? Anetka, right?
Anetka.
Well, if there's additional assistance that we can lend, I am sure that we might be able to find something. I imagine the word is that there's likely to be a lot of refugees coming to the city. If necessary, I can maybe help facilitate entry of any family members she is trying to extract from this location. But again, we do not know yet the specifics. But, of course, we have room here, ever since, at least they can have your room, I suppose.
Kind of like bristles at that.
In any case, perhaps I can assist. I know you don't love this, but I can offer you a loan, not a gift, for you and your friends to help prepare your venture to Bright Meadow, if you feel like that is something that would help you. The family's always been able to provide for itself, and I'd like to see you living up to the family name. It seems like this might facilitate that. So I'm offering 50 gold if you're willing to take it and uphold the family name and honor as we move forward with this endeavor. Does that sound fair to you?
Yes, Uncle, that sounds fair.
All right, well, here you are, and as ever, I'm sure you'll be as diligently careful with wealth as you ever were. But in any case, shall we return to your friends now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, your acquaintances now.
Yes.
All right, well, off we go. Well, that talking to was encountering. What is everyone else doing in the library?
Is there a librarian of sorts? Is there a keeper, or is it just?
There's not a keeper.
Okay.
Just the ledger and the.
Looking around, does this look like a unique collection of books that we might not have access? Maybe Rhinoceros in particular might not have access to these types of books.
Make an investigation check.
Annette is going to pop out Mr. Mittens, and then she'll sort of almost look like she's got some like wool roving pulled over her eyes, and she's going to look through his eyes and have him look for books on the stacks, particularly anything involving flickers.
Okay, make a perception check as well.
Did you just not want to climb the step ladder and look at the books? So you made your familiar do it? I love it.
Lutheus, who is in the room there with you. He sort of, if I can be of help retrieving any books, let me know.
He's just sort of sitting curled up in a ball, and 20 for perception.
Okay, and what was your investigation?
21.
Okay. You don't notice anything on flickers specifically, but you do notice some unusual texts around like shadow energy and things like that. One of them that catches your eye, it seems like is on a very high shelf. You also notice that there's like a locked little like side glass section to it, and most of the texts that you're noticing are like through the glass of that.
Lulu, can I get into that, please?
Well, Father is the only one with the key to those. I'm afraid. So any other book, but we can ask him if when he gets back. What'd you get?
21.
You get the sense that he has an extensive book collection. It also seems like, at least judging by what's through the glass in the locked little section, it looks like part of this family or part of the thing is like a book trade. This is an era where books are quite valuable. Books are always valuable, but they're of great monetary value. So it seems like there's sort of distribution and things like that as well that are in boxes and things. But you do get the sense that there are some rare texts in here, ones that you haven't seen before, but also probably most of your experience reading, at least on specifics, was around your subjects. So it might be just a broader collection than what you've encountered.
Mr. Lalu.
Lutheus, if you please.
Oh, Lutheus.
Yes.
Very well. What books do you have on medical maladies and things of that sort?
Oh, there's a few to be sure. Let's see. Let me look. And he kind of pulls out the ledger for a second and pages through a few pages, and then
So does Cat.
yes, third, and so does Nicholas. Third shelf, second row, and he kind of looks up and he says, yes. Well, we've got some basics and of course some more advanced texts, but maybe some basics.
Definitely some advanced text.
Well, I was going to start you with the Gaffer's Guide to medical aid and first aid. Honestly, a really good starting place for first aid.
Oh, very well.
He pulls it down, hands it over, and it's done in the style of like a dummy's guide to or like first entrance to. It's got a picture of like a cartoon like old man with big sideburns, like holding open a book. You leaf through it. It looks like it's a basic medical text on first aid and stuff like that. But you get the sense that you could glean some benefit from it if you read it over a long time.
Okay.
I'm going to go up to Lutheus and just give him my entire sales pitch on Tristafen.
Make a persuasion check.
And then, like, while he's doing his... Well, we'll see what he gets.
Not great, not terrible.
I'll be, like, grunting in, like, agreement.
As you're reading the book.
Persuasion?
Yeah.
14.
14? Oh! Well, we're really well provided for here, but if I do need something, I'll be sure to check it out or spread the word. Do you have a referral or a card?
I'm gonna pull out a piece of parchment and write down just like the Tristafen for all your needs. Tell them the artifices sent you.
I'll do just that.
You might be well provided for, but I can say one thing that is missing in your life of luxury, and that's surprise.
Well, today has been quite the surprise, hasn't it, Tennille? And you guys are like descending the stairs from the study. Tennille and Galen, who has sort of got his hands behind his back, very stiff, walking down the stairs and saying, well, it seems that we have come to a bit of an arrangement. Is there a particular thing that you'd like to explore, topics-wise? I'm sure that we can arrange a few things, but perhaps it sounds to me like haste is an element of importance in this endeavor. I've secured a few extra assistances for Tennille here, and he kind of lays like a fatherly hand very gently on Tennille's shoulder. And I'm sure that we can move forward, but this might be a time of action rather than research. I can't believe I'm saying that. But if you are looking for a particular text or map, I might be able to lend you such a thing.
Do you have a map of this area?
Of course, I have a map of Sanctus and a continental map. If you'd like to check it out, go ahead and write your name on the ledger there, and go ahead and write your full name, and well, if you're going on an endeavor, I suppose a 2-turning lending period is in order. But yes, the most recent 430 Sanctus map will probably serve you quite well, I imagine.
What about
Third row, second shelf, 8th cubby, I believe.
I'll
Remember.
go.
Can I reach it?
You need the ladder, but
I'll go with flow,
Yes.
and like when we pull it down, instead of like just taking it, I'll like kind of put a hand in it and like do my best to like just kind of copy it over to like my own piece of parchment kind of thing. It's like just a rough kind of generalization.
Okay, make a performance check.
15.
15? Yeah, you're able to get a decent sketch of a copy.
Sweet.
Ah, clever man. Or feathered friend, I should say. In any case, yes, here it is. I got a printed map, y'all.
Oh dang! We got some map, y'all.
We got a map.
Get a man.
Oh,
Fancy printed and such.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you
so
to Benefactor behind the
Thanks,
printing of the map.
benefactor.
Thanks, benefactor.
Thank you, Benefactor. That's all.
I hope we don't owe anything.
No.
It was a loan of 50 gold.
While they're doing that, I'm presuming I know my way around the library.
Yep.
I'm gonna just kind of wander over to the religion section.
Okay.
While they're busy and just, nonchalantly look for books on the Elucia.
Yeah. There are some basic theoretical texts and things like that. Remember, this is not a location. This is not a culture that celebrates the Elucia very much. But there are some texts, mostly written in Elvish, that
read.
speak of that are details of the Elucia.
Okay.
One of them is known as In Touch with the Land.
Okay.
And Voices of the Earth are the two that initially strike you.
Okay.
Verdant culture doesn't usually keep an author situation. The Voices of the Earth, in fact, is a series of bolted or like 3-ring bindered petrified wood slates. In fact, so it's a really old record.
Okay. I'm gonna grab those and I'll check them out, but I'm not gonna put 2 turns. I'm gonna put 6.
Okay.
It's my uncle's house. I'll take the books for when I take the books.
Well, Tennille, you must follow the rules as everybody else. You know the rules, but he's like looming, very much reading the ledger over your shoulder. But I suppose we can make an exception for this time. How interesting of a topic choice.
I'm gonna hold them to my chest and grumbly walk off.
Can I look around and see if I happen to catch anything off my eye of weaponry or?
Yeah, I'm gonna just flip the camera show here.
Oh, yeah.
As long as everyone else is done viewing it.
Ooh.
There we go. There we go. So, we are currently in Solney, for those at home, over here, and Bright Meadow is the nearest right here. But on scale, it's about 46 or so miles away.
It's not an
46
inch away.
46.
Yeah, something like that. What did you say?
Anything on weaponry or the making of?
Surprisingly, most of those texts are absent. You do notice another Gaffer's Guide to Metallurgy and Weaponcraft, but you aren't seeing anything aside from what seems like a high level enchanting / magic item crafting, like artifact crafting book. You don't recognize too much more past the title, which is Unearthing Makings.
And
But-
that's the artificing.
It's a craft of some kind, artifact crafting
Can
kind of
I
book.
pull it and just walk over
So-
to Ren and be like, look?
What have we got there?
So, hang on. You notice it, but it is another book that's behind the glass
Oh.
in the locked room.
Is there other text that you said that was related to that?
Just the Gaffer's Guide to
Just the
Weapon
Gaffer's.
and Metal Craft.
Okay.
What have you got there?
And that girl. Might we maybe take a look at some of the books in the glass? Some of them seem like they would do with flickers.
I would prefer if those tomes do not leave this library. But perhaps I can give you a particular primer. It'd save you a few hours reading.
I mean, I'm always, most of the time, good with a few hours reading, but perhaps a primer in these hasty times?
Yes, well, to the Radiant Reach's knowledge, it seems that flickers are inextricably tied to the energy that comes from the darkest parts of the night wall, the farthest south end of the earth. It seems this energy occasionally seeps out in short bursts known as flickers. Individuals victimized by these effects are known as flickered individuals. Symptoms often include madness, some kind of psychotic necrosis, other varying symptoms. The problem is that it is very non-standard. What is unusual is that it usually only affects areas that are already heavily steeped in shadow, such as this shaded reach. That's why this particular event is unique in that way, and in another way, which is that it is so widespread. It usually flickers, as far as what we have recorded history of, are more localized, affecting small areas. This seems to be widespread and perfectly timed, which I'm sure is what leading some to believe that it is an attack, a coordinated attack, rather than a natural phenomena.
I'm going to repeat back to him, but more questioning tone. Perfectly timed?
Well, it seems, as far as we are aware, that we received pleas for help from each of these areas simultaneously. What has also been understood is that the church, primarily the House of Soul and the House of the 13, have labored to, as well as the Glimmer Council and their agents, have labored to minimize the damage of these areas and close these rifts of a kind, a sort of shadow leakage. As far as we're aware, that is what we know, at least what I know, and as for what might have happened in these locations, I suppose that is for traveling agents and investigators to find out.
For scholarly entertainment, purely hypothetically speaking, what if this were some sort of political or militant attack? What benefit would you imagine the enemy would get from striking these three places?
These four places, in fact.
4 places.
But what is, well, I suppose that striking at the enemy and making them feel fearful, attacking widespread and hurting their infrastructure, as each of these villages yields great resources to Solny's success, and it does not have the same resources to recover or prevent further spread of this effect, such as the radiant, great shining city does itself. I imagine that's why they would be targeted in theory. However, if, as some believe, that the South has been, and Shadvir and agents have been able to wield this power to such great and devastating effect, that is truly, truly frightening and horrific news. But again, this is all uncertain. All of the agents who have been dispatched so far, have yet to return. Some early communications have mentioned the widespread nature and specificity to each site, as if the environment itself has played a role in their yielding of the effects. But again, this is all hearsay. Nothing yet has been recorded or documented with notations, as I prefer to take in knowledge. So,
sounds like, and at this point, Rhinoceros will slam the book shut. Time for some field research.
Yes, that's never really been my area, but do find it seems that you are of a scholarly bend.
And then
perhaps
Rhinoceros will push up his. Yeah.
Perhaps if you would make a few observations, gather some raw data, if you will. It's so hard to find such things. The government is rather strict about handling that information. I suppose we'll see what happens.
You have a personal interest?
Of course, a scholarly interest.
In exchange, I would like to discuss a matter with you if you have a few moments.
That is up to your companion here, but perhaps on your return.
Just 30 to 45, plus or minus. 2 seconds.
Well, have at it quickly.
Perhaps in private.
Why don't we go to my study?
Very well.
The rest of you,
Before you go, I'm like, put my hand on your shoulder. Do you need to touch a ding ding?
oh my gosh.
Too much power, Nate. Too much power.
You feed it to me. I simply absorb what is provided.
No, you're confused. Taniel has the ding ding.
So I'll
You
make,
see
old
like a
man
weird
noise.
drow flush like in his cheeks, just like, oh my god.
Letheus looks over and kind of arches an eyebrow.
Do you not remember?
Don't ask.
We gave him the ding ding.
I ain't.
Oh, never mind.
Perhaps, I
seen
believe we
nothing.
have a timetable. Shall
That
we
was
go?
The plus or minus 2 seconds. Let's
Yes, let us.
My family might be dead.
He leads you upward to the study, up another sort of spiraling set of marble stairs, and you're noticing a distinct lack of like paintings or anything like that on the walls in this particular location. But you do see out of a window, and it looks like there's a beautiful garden in the back behind the house, a very manicured area. But you get to the study, and it's a very packed desk and shelves, very organized but very full of things. And Galen says, "Yes, Renostus?"
I like to consider myself a learned man.
Yes.
However, I have not ventured much into medical studies.
I see.
However, a case was presented to me recently involving rapid mental and physical degradation. And
Make a deception check.
Deceptive. It's not telling me anything.
Nope. He's right through it.
Not that one. I must dig through my papers that I have here. Deception?
Mhm.
That is 8.
I think I understand what you're saying.
Initial research has been unfruitful, and it's a matter of haste, as you can imagine.
I understand. Well,
Do you know of anyone?
perhaps. What I would caution you is that such subjects are rather closely guarded pieces of information. The Glimmer Council, in particular, is rather fierce about this information. The Shining Hound herself has made it known that certain subjects are not for public consumption. However, through local connections and with the family name behind me, I have been able to secure a few tomes that might be of interest within my locked room. Since I am sending you together the raw data, why don't we make a deal? I will pass over a particular text which might be of some manner of use for you. It's a little difficult to decipher, but perhaps you'll have a lot more luck than I. It is not very specific, or at least I have not found it so, but at least a good place to start. The author's name was Hallides, as it were. And you kind of recognize a little bit of the name, you can't really quite place it yet.
Okay.
But his texts were, I won't say enlightening, but certainly helping uncloud some of the veil. But yes, I will allow you to peruse at least his first tome that I was able to secure.
Thank you. That's very, very kind, and I will in turn share with you any knowledge that is gained.
Okay. Sorry, one second.
Sure.
Yes. Well, a exchange of knowledge is what this family is based on.
Do you have any
And spices, of course.
spices?
It's unrelated.
Oh, okay. This case has no professional attendant, if you would call it that. Do you know of any medical practitioners within the city that would be willing, from a curiosity standpoint, to see the case?
I am certain that many would be interested, but if I had to guess, it has already been in place within the Hallides Asylum. And now that you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that exists. I forgot about that. Huh, that's funny. I don't normally...
Paladin's Asylum?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're sort of like, I've never been down that area, but I've heard about it.
Okay. And that's...
It's in the city.
In the city, okay. The information you've provided is more than generous, thank you.
Indeed, and he's kind of like guiding you down the stairs.
My 40 seconds has transpired.
Yes,
perhaps 20 to 30 plus or minus 2 seconds ago.
Yes, something like that. But I thought it would polite to at least hear you out. And he produces a rather like glass-looking key with like covered in different glyphs and things like that. He inserts it in the lock to the glass case. He kind of glides past everybody and kind of in a swoosh of robes, unlocks it and pushes it open. And like the lock makes zero noise whatsoever when it unlocks. He quickly retrieves a tome, hands it to you, and shuts the door. Shows the key upon his person again.
How long is your checkout period?
I would expect to see this back within the return of your day, or within one turning of your return to the city.
Very well. Forget to return the book.
But I would ask that you at least reach out if you're going to be more than 8 turnings away.
We will do that. Or we will head out within the hour.
You glance at the... What languages do you speak?
Oh boy, she's got a few. He's got a few.
Yeah.
Common for sure. Giant. No. Yeah. Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Undercommon.
Yeah, between all of us, we probably speak every language.
What is it? Again, sorry.
It's like Giant, Common, Elvish, Undercommon,
Okay.
Dwarvish.
It's written in Undercommon.
Okay.
Nice.
The book's written in Undercommon?
The book's
Okay.
written in Undercommon, including the title, which roughly translates to Surges of Shadow. And to all, you just see Halliday's written on the front. You can't tell if it's a first name or a last name.
Okay.
But it's like slightly off to one side. It's like slightly to the right. It's like on the bottom right part of the book.
Okay. I will stow it in my pack.
Very old looking book.
I will wrap it. I probably have something that I can wrap. I will.
Okay. You're safely storing it in the book. Got it. That was just mentioning it.
Lulu.
Lutheus.
Two things. First, I acquired this alchemical set, but turns out alchemical sets are quite heavy, and so I figured I could, leave it here. And speaking of things to leave here, and she'll take her bundle, I don't think adventuring's quite the right place for a pet. If you could maybe arrange board for Mrs. Slimy here?
My jacket.
It was ruined already.
He grabs it, and it's sort of like dripping little slime drops that's kind of like on the carpet. He's like, oh! And kind of just like runs off.
Yeah.
He's like, sure!
I
And kind of runs away.
By the way, her secretions are quite acidic, and it could be quite interesting to study.
I noticed! And kind of like, he's already like booking it out the room, running with the thing. And Galen kind of looks over you, looks down at the sort of little singe mark in the rich carpet, kind of looks up. Perhaps it is best that you embark on this journey. I believe it is a measure of haste that is important.
I'll wave my hand over and cast Mending. Does it do anything to the carpet?
Mending takes a minute to cast.
I'll sit there I'll cross my legs and kind of just do like this over it for a minute then, I guess.
Okay.
With no response, with just not saying anything to anyone. I'll sit down and do this.
Well, it seems to look a little better, at least. Appreciate that. But if any case, off you go.
Be dead.
It was lovely to get a visit. Did you want to pay a visit to your mother or your room?
My aunt.
Your aunt, sorry.
Little one we can store your supplies in my room.
I'm sorry?
So talking to Anutka, we can store your alchemy. We can store your toys upstairs in my room.
They are important research elements, as I'm sure your family understands.
Okay. I'm gonna grab
Yes.
them and just like
Yeah.
Take care. The snail likes
He's already gone.
Yeah.
Like, he's already gone out of earshot.
So I'll take her tools and I'm gonna head up to my room.
Okay.
I'm going to look for something up there.
As everybody was doing all their things, and I was looking around, was there anything else on like lumens or use of lumens or stuff like
Yeah, there is the history of the Lumen. There's a book on the history of the Lumen. There's also Illuminating Recollections by Crom Miracast. A sort of overall combined, see us on YouTube, combined section like of stuffed notes and things like that. It looks like it's been retranslated into a book, sort of short book, on its original designs and customizations and things like that. Then there's been recent Lumen development, also by Crom Miracast. It looks like this is written much more recently, so last maybe 5 years or so.
Okay. For uses other than just lumens and writing areas, or do any of those books strike me as more useful?
You'd have to read them. I mean, you're just reading titles at this point. They're up above a little bit more in this tall, cylindrical area.
Okay. The newer of them, can I pull that down and flip through it real quick?
Yeah, so recent Lumen development. You flip through it, it looks like it's talking mostly about schematics involving the Lambent ships, which are solar-powered boats and ships. They're primarily used in the Solnian Navy, but self-propelling ships, basically, with a solar motor of a kind.
Oh, little one, you don't worry about that. I can tell you all about this on the way over.
There's also been some. One second. There's also been some. There's also some talk about creating faster ways to more efficiently renew mass amounts of lumens. Because right now the process takes a while and is rather dangerous. So those are the main focuses of that.
Okay.
So go ahead and make a general intelligence check for me.
Since this has been going on for at least a little while.
Yep.
With everything happening.
You're at like since you're 8 feet tall, your eye level is like at least second or third shelf. So you're like reading very different titles than everybody else as you're glancing around.
Have I seen anything on like memory loss or amnesia?
Not initially. But what you do notice, is for a second your vision like flickers in and out a little bit with sort of a shadowy thing, and for a second you see like this vision of all of the books starting to like dissolve into shadowy dust.
Huh.
And then you like sort of snap out of it for a second and continue looking, and you're like, what was I doing?
Okay.
Oh, is it? 3, 5.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just like close the book and put it back.
Yep, there you go.
We have a very long road to travel. I can tell you everything about the Lumens.
I'm so ready to
Yes,
hear
I
it
believe you do have a very long road to travel. Tanil, it was so lovely to see you visit. I will say you've gone up and back to your room before, but in your room, was there anything in particular you wanted to do or view?
So I'm going to store Anitka's alchemy tools in my locked chest where I keep many of my little baubles that I have pickpocketed from people.
Okay.
The things I steal from people.
Yeah, so the shade cloths all over the windows and stuff.
It looks like a cave.
Looks like the bat cave. The scholarly bat cave.
Well, then there's also, I imagine that he would also scavenge just like old rugs and anything that he could find that was getting tossed out and just like hanging on the walls to also keep it dark.
Nice, I love it. In your chest, there's a few things. Did you want to grab anything?
I'm specifically actually came up for a pair of gloves. If I happen to have, I feel like I would have gloves.
Yes, sure.
So
you have a pair of
grab-
gloves. They're a little worn looking, but
fine.
yeah.
So I'm gonna grab them and tuck those on and head back downstairs.
Okay.
What is in my chest, actually?
There's quite a few things. Various knickknacks and things that you've looted. You've got sort of, a little bit of your uncle maybe rub off on you, so they're kind of organized by like type, maybe.
Yes, of course they are.
But some of the things are kind of broken. Most interesting, or ones that you've always remained interested in, there's a tiny box that's remained locked. You haven't been able to unlock it, with dozens of feet carved on the bottom, like that carved in like actual booted feet.
Cool.
There's a broken blade handle of like purplish glass material. There's a silver spoon with an engraved S. Okay. I can send you a list if you want, if there's anything particular you're looking for. There's several stolen Soulsguard badges. There's a purple handkerchief with the initials DH embroidered in gold thread on it. There's a holy symbol of soul on it. That looks like it's been dipped in like different colored inks.
I'm gonna take one of the soul badges.
Okay.
What were they called again? I'm sorry.
Soul's Guard.
Soul's Guard badges and the symbol of soul as well.
Okay.
And just take those with me. Just you know, you
Just-
never know.
you never
You
know.
never know.
You also find a rather unusual looking square coin,
Okay.
which is gold.
Why?
I don't know why coins that are square bother me. Anyways, Q. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take one of the badges. I'll take the symbol of soul. The purple handle. It's just the hilt
Okay.
of the knife.
So yeah, there's a broken blade handle. It's more like a short sword handle of like purplish glass material. It like kind of refracts really weird. It's like really faceted on. It looks like it's got facets on the outside and inside of the blade. The material. It's maybe like the handle and like this much of the.
I'm gonna make a mental note to come back to that when I have detect magic prepared. Just
Got it.
yeah, I'm gonna grab gloves and those two things, and then shut my chest and lock it again.
Okay.
Make sure everything in my room is where it's supposed to be, and then leave the room.
Got it.
And go back downstairs, and then I presume everyone's still in the library.
Yeah, nice dark orderly hoarder area.
It's very clean.
very clean.
Meticulously
Not a speck of dust on anything.
Yeah,
You know.
no clean, no dirt, no smells. It is clean. It's just
All right.
stuff.
So you return, and Uncle Galen is kind of politely. He's like, "Well, this was a lovely visit to Neil. You have to tell me all about your new friends association and your experiences." And Anetka, again, I understand this is a very hard time for you, but if there's anything that the Kilnara family can do to help, let me know. And soul speed to you all.
Thank you, Uncle.
And he kind of shuts the door with a swoosh of his robe. All right, with that, it is 8:10, so we're going to take a quick break here. Give everyone a chance to use the bathroom, do all that kind of stuff, get some food. So don't go away. For those of you watching here at home, if you're enjoying, find us at DragonPoetSociety.com. That'll lead you to all the different places, but we're on YouTube and Instagram and all those different things. So thank you for watching. We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes.
Woo-hoo.
And we are back. Coming back with a good strong start. Well, when last we left off, the party had just gathered further information regarding the... this isn't playing pudding. Gathered their last bits of information and got some other additional announcements regarding the recent flickers that have struck near the previously untouched Radiant Reach. The 4 villages that were hit, including, as we found out, Bright Meadow, which is only about two days' travel away, which is where Annetka's, Megan's character's, parents are located. So, with that, the party went over to getting some more familial interactions. Tennille led the way to his very wealthy manor belonging to his uncle, Galen Kelnara, and they perused many of the tomes there, getting some information, and a loan, and a stiff talking to, regarding the moving forward and plan. But the overall idea seems to be that the team is going to be heading over fairly shortly to their way to Bright Meadow. Sorry, I'm just getting my music all set up here. There we go. Nice and chipper.
My family might be dead.
Yeah. The team also seemed to engage in some marketing arrangement with the local new up-and-coming general goods store, Tristafen's. So surely there will be antics to follow concerning that. With that said, the team has just exited the Kelnara Manor, still in the very lavish and well-kept areas that is the Jewels Ward. Before you guys head out, and those of you can see at home, here I might be able to lift the map. I don't know if this is going to come through, but this is where the party is now, in Solney, and we're going to be heading over to Bright Meadow as the planned route there. So, but while we're here in the city, was there anything that the team wanted to do before they begin their journey sort of southwesterly?
Well, I'm going to kind of pull the team aside before we head off. So I realized that I may have been a little high-handed in dragging you all here, but I'm going to pull out the Lord Brightstone. We do have this, and as it very creepily reminded me, we will receive extra points and money if we investigate things related to the Flickers. And we have another interest in regards to the Flickers and the little one's family. So, my uncle has most generously lent me 50 gold to help get to Bright Meadow. And though I am loath to spend that money, if we need to use it to get there, we can do that. But I would like some agreement that if we use the money to get to Bright Meadow and use it to fund this thing, I'll hold up the Lord Brightstone again, that we all chip in to repay that money from what we earn from this.
And again, the stone is a sort of emerald-colored stone with golden runes and engraves on it.
Seems fair.
Seems reasonable.
Slate's just coming back to consciousness. What?
You still with us, Tiny?
Yeah.
Chirps? What say you?
That's all he says.
Boss said no.
You don't want to go to Bright Meadow? You won't pay back?
Bingo.
Bingo.
It seems we are at an impasse. Then we are going to be traveling much slower and more cheaply than we could if we used the money.
Ah, come on,
One-
Nate. We're
one
gonna be so
moment,
bored
one
without you.
We can look at this as a business opportunity. When we go to this place, think of all the new audience that we can spread the word of Tristafen to. We will make that money back in leaps and bounds. And discounts only allowed to be used at Tristafen's store, which is fake money. But maybe we can get another cool bag.
I'm gonna come over and just give the bell back.
I'll snatch it back. I'll hold up to you. Just what you think.
It's a very nice spell, but I think we should discuss the matter at hand. You being willing to repay the loan.
Not the entirety
Your
of the
portion.
loan, but any money that we do use to say buy or use horses or stay at a comfortable inn and not on the roadside.
I tapped my tent. My tent. I just got a tent in that pack.
Oh.
Well, then I
Birds and
suppose he
tents.
can always sleep in the tent and we can sleep in inns. Do you oh, no.
What do they
I
call
tried
it?
to click, but I had Oreo in my mouth.
This is what you might
Been
call
there.
A joint venture. We can get discounted rates because we are a large group.
Do you want to walk the whole way?
I have a word for no.
I'm sure you've heard someone say no.
No.
Well, then you at least repay the cost of horses?
Big brains over there.
I take that as a yes.
So limited.
You have. Did you just write down the answer too?
That takes so much time.
Yes,
this
yes,
doesn't.
this.
Because this hasn't.
Yeah, no.
I write down yes and hold it up to you.
Quench bench.
Is that an affirmative?
Oh, Nate, I love it.
Fear not.
Oh,
All right, well,
We'll work our way back to the quench bench.
with money in your pocket, albeit lent money for most of it, they say that you can buy anything in Solney.
That's good.
Is there a particular thing that you guys are looking for, wanting to get? Particular things. You can also visit other lending areas and stuff. You passed a few.
I'd rather not give the Scovins any more money.
Lend the 50 for more.
Oh yeah, the Scovins. That's right. You guys didn't follow up on the lead you had with the Scovin family.
We have not yet, yeah.
Okay.
We could.
Was the Scovin family the lady we met?
Yes, Aurelia Scovin,
Right.
who you met in
That's
line.
right.
She
Relatives
asked
and-
you about her cousin who had gone missing.
I just maybe rent some horses to make because the only things I could think of, some fancy fibers or yarns for spell casting, but those will cost more than what we have.
Perhaps some rations. I
Rations.
don't have any.
Yeah, so I'm guessing we would talk and figure rations, transport.
Might I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Would you be willing to shop at Tristafen's for our rations, and you all will be 4 newly referred customers?
I will lean in and give like my full sales pitch I've been giving to everyone.
Have you?
You just see like a muscle twitch.
This is going to turn from marketing scheme to cult. It's like, have you heard of the good word of Tristafen's general goods?
I mean,
This is
Have you
always
heard
like
of our
a
Lord and
small
Savior
discount on
Tristafen?
purchases.
Tristafen, whatever.
Like,
yeah.
Tristafen. Yeah,
we
Tristafen.
could try another general store. They're really a dime a dozen.
Oh, I need to disclose that I have a vested interest in.
Hashtag ad.
Well, there's
This part of DragonPoetSociety is brought to you by Tristafen's General Goods.
Oh, very good in the mouth. Very good in the mouth.
Excuse me?
There's a
The
discount.
rations.
Okay.
Very good in the mouth.
Very good in the mouth.
who said that?
I know you're the one that said it. I wrote it down.
Me?
Someone said it. I wrote it down. That means someone said
It
it.
does sound like Renasus. I don't.
I'm almost positive.
I think it was something with like maybe one of the fruits or something.
Very good.
Aw.
in the mouth.
Okay. Anyways,
Written it down.
where could we find horses? Or like a wagon or
Was
something.
there any horses at Tristafen's?
We can go ask. I don't know his entire inventory by heart. I'm just a new.
Pretty small store when you're in there, but he might be able to at least provide direction to someone who does have horses if he doesn't.
Party. He is an honest salesman, and that can be rare
How
here
long?
in Solney.
How long have you known him?
Entire
2
life.
hours.
Are you entirely sure he's an honest salesman?
I mean, I may have made a sort of insight query in my brain, and it seems to be that he's honest.
I must insist.
Let us go to this Tristafen's and just.
Okay, so it's a
done with
while to walk back, because it's on the other side of the city, so it's a long way.
Do we even need things? Doesn't
We
everyone
need
have
rations. We need. I don't think everyone has rations.
Right.
And horses.
I have some rations.
I mean,
We probably could use more rations.
we
Okay,
have some.
so unless you guys are looking for
Ten.
anything in particular, we can just sort of speed ahead to when you guys are at the store again. You pass a lot of different stores, again, a lot of patrols, varying people moving here and to and fro. Are you reversing the route you were doing, or going on a shorter way?
Is there a shorter way?
Yeah, if there's a shorter way.
Kind of, a little bit at least.
Does it take us through nefarious?
It must, yeah. It will. No question.
So yeah, so you guys went like this last time. Tristafen's is kind of over here, somewhere in the middle of Tradestow Ward, and then zipped up to the far eastern side of Jules Ward, so you can just cut over and then down.
Okay.
Because you were going all the way from the salt pools, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys cut across and down. It's over through a nice area. You come across a couple nice stores that you see off in the distance. Again, sort of Anetka, even in your Griffin state, you're like, oh, fabric store. And a couple other locations here and there that you see. But in your main focus, you make your way to Tristafen's yet again. And you see Tristafen busily tidying up the floor and keeping it very neat and orderly, and everything's organized, and he's kind of waiting at his desk very perkily for new coming customers. So who all's heading in? Everyone heading in?
That's
I'm
all.
heading in.
Oh, welcome in, welcome back, my benefactors. No referrals just yet, but I'm sure you're just getting everything.
I'm just like gesturing to them as
I
they
will
walk in.
mirror the gesture.
Oh, well, good new customers. What can I get you?
Rations.
Yes, okay. Well, I'll mark your tally. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 3 individuals.
Who's missing?
No,
Slate
Flo.
was, no, Flo
Flo
was
was
with you
there.
guys.
Flo is with you guys.
Oh,
So
okay.
Slate
Flo was there with you guys.
So it's-
Flo's gonna look around, and when he's not looking, just gently turn things off.
Oh my god.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Just off kilter.
Okay. He says, "Oh yes, well, I can sell you rations, of course. What kind of? How many are we needing? How many days are we gonna? How many turnings are you gonna be traveling for?
I will take 5 for myself. How many would you like, Anastas?
5 seems to be a good number.
5.
Bowl of Brussels sprouts.
What?
That's my mantra. Bowl of.
That's your voice acting mantra.
Big
Everyone's gotta have a voice acting mantra.
That's a knife.
How about 5 days for each of us?
Yeah.
So 30 total.
That's good for you?
I'm good.
You don't need any?
Oh, you don't need rations. Oh, okay, you don't need. Well, you have a lovely figure.
Oh.
What? I was just saying a nice thing.
I see you.
I was just saying a nice thing.
You come here often.
Well, I work here and live here, yes. All the time. You can come here often, though.
Yeah?
Oh.
Fruit
Oh,
man,
nice.
Dan.
Maybe we should have done a little bit more.
I mean,
So 5 rations, 5 rations, 5 rations, 5 rations, 5 rations. None for the lady. So
I'll
it's-
come get my rations later.
okay. 25 rations. Let me double check. Embarrassingly, I don't have this memorized. Yeah. So they're 5 silver apiece. So 25 rations is going to be.
2 gold, 5 silver.
Sorry.
2 gold and 5 silver.
Per person.
Per person, yeah.
Well, I'm going to pay for it with the loan money.
Oh, right.
So it's 2 gold, 5 silver
Per person.
per person.
Mhm.
So it's
So I think it's
12.
12.50.
12.50.
So 12 gold, 5 silver.
Okay.
I got there and then I was like, wait, did I make a calculation mistake?
I'm just getting in your head, Nicholas.
Yeah.
oh, that's
Oh, no.
terrifying.
And you see him like kind of as he's looking at you, like turning all the little objects that you've turned to the sides and stuff. He's like returning them, making sure
Did you
that.
see me though?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
is there something else I can help you with? Would you like to make a purchase?
I mean, what you got for a woman like me?
Well, I'm not sure that I can ever match your particular. Wow. I have general goods. That's what I have. I also have a secret satchel if you're a woman of excitement, as we know that you are. But such a thing at the moment would cost 35 gold for a bit of daring do as far as engaging in sales. So who knows what you'll find, but certainly you're guaranteed a good value.
I mean, do you have any other specialties besides secret satchels?
Well, at the moment, that's the specialty. It's the way to drum up business, something new and different. And your associates, excuse me, here have already started a referral and association program that will surely lead to additional profitability and discounts.
Really official, like,
I'm gonna like adjust my tie.
So I'm sure we'll be able to come to something over time, but at the moment, I'm afraid this is what we have. Yes.
I'm gonna like tap on the counter, and I'm gonna point out Rhinoceros' tie. Do you I'll write down my notepad tie question mark.
I'm afraid I don't do clothing. That's not really my specialty, although I can recommend a few locations that might be able to acquiesce to such a thing. Custom work. Let me see. Here it was. Well, there's the local clothing store. A bit more on the revelry side of things, but I'm sure you'd be able to find different things there. That's Eternal 32 clothing, which is somewhere along the line of Revelry Row.
We have to go there, guys.
So let's see.
I need a new jacket.
Ask for Miss Boulagie. She's the owner of said store. But
Are we gonna do anything tonight, or just?
But there's also
influencers.
What is this we?
there's also togas, tunics, and try-ons, which is not too far from there, which is also a good clothing store. If you're looking for custom made, though, let's see, what was it? It's up in the Jewels Ward, fabric and customs. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, if you all are done, I think his family might be dead.
It's the fabric store.
Probably leave.
Yeah. When might we rent horses for travel?
Ironshod might be able to do that, but I'm willing to bet that at the moment rentals might be pretty pricey, given current environment and climate. I'm not sure that they did long-term rentals anyway, but for adventuring parties, return rate isn't usually pretty good. So you might be in over your head within some insurance deals there.
Any guess on a rough estimate of like one horse?
I don't know. I know they usually sell. I don't know that they rent. But you could work out a deal with them.
As those two look at each other, I don't know.
I'd say you're looking at least 75 gold to buy, probably.
Yes,
to rent, I don't know. You could rent a Mastiff to pull.
I don't even know if Tiny would fit on a horse.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I would. My feet would be hitting the ground.
You need a big warhorse, sir, which is probably a little more on the expensive side.
A horse.
A horse.
If I may.
Yes. You may.
Could we purchase some rope?
Absolutely. What kind of rope would you have? I have silken. I have hempen. Those are the two types of rope I have.
Hempen is fine.
Oh, okay. That'll be 1 gold.
Okay. Am I buying that, or is Ross buying that?
If you want to buy it, it's going to be for the trip.
Okay.
And also, do you have any butter or similarly fat-laden material?
I'm a general adventuring gear store, so just to clarify for when you're giving out our adverts, food-related stuff is not really my specialty. But I do have some occasional potions of healings that I.
maybe in your orientation for brand ambassadors, you could mention what type of.
Yes, it is a new experience to me, for sure, to be able to say that I have these things. I didn't really put together a full, brand ambassador kind of deal. I think there's an apothecary not far from the bookstore that you might be able to find something like that in. Otherwise, you can try your luck at the market. I'm sure there's a store that has butter.
There should be, yes. I would also like to mention to the party, if you haven't noticed already, there's a lot of sun. Maybe we could get hats or other accoutrements to protect ourselves from the sun.
Just leave. You don't
Have
have
you
a
ever-
hat.
have
You
you
live in Solney.
I have a hat. When we were standing in line the other day, you folks did not bring your hat, so I am left to assume you do not have
The
a
plant. That was your.
Do you have any sun absorbing creams?
We have shade cloth tents. You could fashion something out of that, but you could also just buy shade cloth by the bulk, if that's
How
what
much
you
is
needed.
a shade cloth tent?
3 gold, 2-person tent.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell him and be like, Miss Bulaji? Miss Bulaji?
I mean,
How about 2.5 gold in a kiss?
Oh!
Good,
From
make a
each of
persuasion
us.
check. Yeah.
Swear to God, I'm gonna come
We
back
can
and disguise
have the
self as full.
boulanger
I
character.
think
Oh,
that
no.
should be something.
I'll give
to
you
write down.
advantage because you've clearly been.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah, that is a good one to write down.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
2.5
How about
gold in a
200?
kiss.
In a girl's voice.
I've got a solid 12.
He kind of. Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Come here, munchkin. And
Aw.
I give him a good old smack.
No, give him like an anti-kiss, you know?
Oh no.
I'm like, kiss my hand.
He's like blushing down to his collarbone. His prominent Adam's apple is very red.
Amazing.
He's like, come back anytime.
Chirps, will you share your tent with one of us? The tent you have? Okay. We'll take two tents.
All right, so that'll be another 6. In addition to this one.
Just one.
Shoot,
And
I can share mine.
well, then we just need one more, and then I'll cover up. Well,
3 gold it is then.
Do.
I'm not.
well,
I might not fit in a 2-person
Big
tent.
and little.
I'm a little large.
Oh, I mean it might be a 1-person tent for you.
Yeah.
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 Would you like one?
I mean,
2 more.
I've been sleeping on
2 more tents then.
6
I
gold.
can take
All
it
right.
out of my own.
That 6 gold. That sounds great.
And some,
You just buy your tent, and I'll buy the other 2.
Yeah.
and some loose fabric, maybe 2 yards, 3 yards.
Of shade cloth fabric,
Yes.
is that it? 2 yards by the yard.
No. Miss Bulaji.
But we don't have
We don't have time.
we don't have time.
No,
and-
I will make us hats on the road.
I mean, if you want someone to make you hats,
Do you have sunshade yarn?
That
Shade
sounds
cloth.
amazing.
Shade
That's-
cloth yarn?
that sounds amazing. But I also have black. She'll pull out just a strip of just black. I have black yarn, and she'll just tie it around her eyes,
Very well.
assuming you can see in the dark. And
Your parents are in peril. We must go.
are they now?
They might be.
Wow. Well, good luck. I mean, yeah. And come back.
All right, fucking mess indeed.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. Don't forget our arrangement as you're on your travels.
Oh, I don't think
Well,
they
sorry.
will.
All right. Well, good luck. Ta-ta now.
That's all.
Ta-ta.
Oh God, there's another one.
While we're in Trades Row, right?
Yeah. Trades to award.
Trades to award. Why did I say trades? Anyways, I would like to take out a piece of parchment.
Okay.
And I am going to, I've got a fancy little pen. And using this pen, I'm going to scribble a few words saying like, Tristafer's fine goods, and like do a rough map of the location, and then use code artifices
For 10% off.
for 10% off. And
Oh, that's amazing.
I would like
love
to. So I can do magical tinkering and be a tiny non-magical. Okay, that's tiny though.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to make a flyer, but make it flash. Because I can make a non-magical effect, your choice, radius, light, up to 6-second recorded message, order, verbal, noise, but I just want it to flash like a billboard, kind of.
Sure, I'll allow that. Yeah.
And do I see any sort of like a bulletin board area or somewhere a post I can put it on?
Yeah, there's some there's some wanted poster areas and stuff like that where people have stuck other advertisements and stuff like that.
I'd like to put it there.
Okay. Yeah. You stick it up there.
All right.
Let us go.
Okay. Are you guys heading out? It would probably be the southern gate that you want to take, I imagine. But anything else that you guys wanted to do as you...
We got a map, we got food, we got somehow to sleep.
I'm gonna kind of tug at Slate's bottom part of her shirt because I'm sure that's about where I reach. And just kind of like gently like hold up the tent. I'm like kind of fumbling with it, like.
Slay is nothing but a shirt.
yeah, each of these tents, by the way, for weight purposes, is 20 pounds.
Oh, good lord.
A lot of poles and all that.
A lot of poles. A lot of patch poles.
I think I am actually okay.
Poor patch poles.
Let me. Oh no, I might.
Just sneak it in my pack like you did.
Like I could split parts of it and take part of it, but I'm not a big beefy boy. I'm a noodle. I'm not a noodly boy. I'm a
lean machine.
I'm a lean machine. There we go.
Not a noodly boy.
We already have one of those.
Got it. Okay.
That's not the word previously used to describe your character the other day. I won't say that on camera.
What? Okay.
After stream?
It gets wild after stream, people, let me tell you.
Yeah, you guys are really missing out there at home, I guess. Yeah, okay, so you guys are heading out down to the south. I'm just trying to find one particular little note that you're doing.
While you're doing that,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for any like street vendor that might have some fat, or I'm looking for just a little piece of like lard or something.
Okay.
Also,
Okay, go ahead and roll a perception check.
while she's doing that,
Okay.
when we're outside of Terraplese's shop, can I try and listen to see if I hear the same, like...
Tristafen.
What did I call him? Terraplease?
Terraplease is the yeah, just depends on the guy.
Team names, I'm sorry.
Okay, fewer T names, duly noted.
Tobias, Senior and Junior.
What did you wanted to double check to see if you
I
could?
can hear it again.
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
My bad. I totally wrote Terraplease down.
Rialto, you know.
Oh gosh.
Same as before, 19.
19. Yeah. You're still getting that sense, and now you feel like you know what to come across a little bit more. But I'm not sure that you're not sure that you can put your finger on it any more thoroughly than that. Just that it was certainly still present, but keeping its distance is what I would say.
So not like it's specific to this location, but I've had that feeling as I'm traveling kind of thing?
It doesn't seem specific to this location, no. Not that you can tell. And then you wanted to look for...
A vendor that's selling fatty goods.
Okay, what was your perception check?
23.
The Little House of Lard is along the way, not far from Fruitman Dan's little stall that he's got going on. It's done in the set of like an open pavilion house, but it's a little cart. And it's a little more space away from everybody else due to the smell. But there's various different house-shaped butter cakes and churning barrels and things like that. There's a very, very old, very like... She's got that like look of like a piece of beech wood that's like...
She got that look of a piece of beech wood.
with a lot of wrinkles.
She sure knew me look.
Oh my gosh.
Like some beech wood out there.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I think it goes okay.
She says, "Welcome to the Little House of Lard.
That's exactly how I
Thank you.
picture a beech wood.
What would you like?"
Hey, that's stereotype. Don't do that.
My bad.
I think I've come to the right location when it comes to procuring some lard or butter.
Indeed, you have.
volumes do you sell it in?
Volumes.
We sell it by the hut, by the tent, by the manor, by the castle.
Holy shit.
What size? And she's gesturing. It's like, it's like a little triangle for tent, and then hut. It's like a little circular yurt-shaped thing of butter, and then there's like a carved thing, like it's like like a block brick, and then the castle one is like torso-sized.
It's just sitting out in the sun.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, she's got shade cloth going, but some of the castle ones are like leaning a little.
Maybe the yurt. Did you say yurt was a size? Hut.
Hut, yes. Hut.
How much for a hut?
Well, a hut,
And Renastus will be like, he's gonna adjust
silver.
His... 1 silver.
Yes.
Do you have a sort of storage container I can put it in the event where my warm body melts?
Well, it looks like you have a storage container. She points to your backpack.
Just toss it in there.
Butter in a bag.
I don't.
It'll come in some wrappings.
Okay.
He wraps it, and she wraps it and hands it over.
You said it was a silver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come back anytime to the little house of Lard.
Oh God, I hate
What did you say your name was?
I didn't.
Larda.
Larda.
Means Nicholas has to improvise because of us.
Crana.
Crana. Yeah. Pleasure, Crana. I'm Renastus.
Sure, Renastus.
You know, I'm a little preoccupied at the moment, but maybe sometime when you're free.
Right.
You're very young.
Stop trying to date Nicholas the shopkeepers.
Poor Slate's like, I just want to figure out what's going on with my brain.
Shut up, flirt with every goddamn shopkeeper we come across.
Strong.
Very young and full of energy.
Oh.
Oh, my husband
Oh.
might have something to say about
Very well. Well, pleasure doing business.
pleasure. Always welcome new friends to the little house of Lard.
By a Lardly. Bro, we've all been there.
Yeah, who has?
As we're entering away from the city, moving things on, I am having a hard time finding whatever I'm trying to find. But
You have to identify what you're trying to find first.
yes, I know what I am. I just don't want to say it out loud.
Nicholas, why don't you roll in that 20?
That yes. Why don't I just roll in that 20?
Yep.
Isn't that, if that was how D&D worked?
I mean, you're behind the screen. We wouldn't know.
No, I don't fake rolls. That's not okay. We don't do that here.
Sure.
Yeah, these are all natural ones. Every single one.
Every one of them. When I
Yeah,
roll 3 in a row.
like,
Yeah.
Like the
Okay,
D4,
so,
natural 20.
When you guys are heading out on the southern gate, you notice a lot of gate checking before. Gate tax coming back in is pretty normal, pretty standard. So, you are seeing people pay the gate prices to get in and things like that. You're noticing a bit more of an influx than an outgoing than what you're normally used to seeing. And off to the one side, Renastus and Taniel, you probably notice this. Flo, you might notice this as well. It looks like there's an individual who is not far from the gate, more on the Salt Poles Canal side of things. An individual who is standing upon what looks like a barrel, and he's got a big sign, and he's shouting, like preaching, kind of crying out, and is sort of doing like a protest thing, and his sign reads, "Reap the Shadow." You can't quite hear, like, discern the specifics of what he's saying immediately, just by the hubbub of the influx of people. But you can see a few people are kind of looking, and some of them are nodding. A couple are, like, shaking their head and stuff like that. But he's like impassionately orating on this situation, on this barrel.
Okay.
Can I take a listen?
Yeah. Are you approaching?
Is it like within reason if we're walking out we would listen kind of a thing?
You would have to kind of deviate a little.
I'll follow the party.
Yeah, I guess noticing this, I would actually be kind of curious and, sorry, and this is kind of out of character, Felina, I'm trying to remember, to use the Lore Bright Stone, do we touch it to something, or we just have it?
It depends.
Okay.
Touch if it's a creature or an object, you have to touch it to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, if it's like a secret, you can gain it by being the attuned user who is gaining that knowledge. So, for instance, if you read the book in question, would be a good example of that.
Okay.
So, that is the initial. Those would be the ways that you could gain that information.
Okay.
Do we see any guards that are in the area?
Make a perception check.
Oh yeah, I've been getting the same roll over and over and over again.
That's a good way to die. Easy.
He gave it to me, so.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, finally found it. What did you get?
23.
23. Very nice. So yeah, you do notice there are a few guards. There's even a couple guards that are kind of looking over and stuff like that, but they're not yet like intervening.
I can't see any like reaction that they're having to this character.
A few of them are clearly like not happy about the situation. And as you get closer and with that roll and everything, you guys are approaching, right? You said
Just
you're
kind of
approaching.
like
Sorry.
skim the crowd a bit, so we like hear him, but not like get really in the thick of it, I guess.
Yeah, so he's like impassionately orating. He's like, "We must dissent from our loyalties. We must dissent and abandon our hatred of each reach. Our leaders spin gilded lies to all of us. The Archons are fools, and we are both from sides of Sanctus. They tell us that they can control these flickers, control the shadows, the powers of the night wall. Lies, I say. Lies and nonsense. The Prismere, with all of their magic and all of their research, they police us, but they have nothing to help prevent these catastrophes. The Archons have nothing to prevent these problems. We must separate ourselves from these powerful groups, powerful leaders, and unite. We are Sancturians first, before Reachmen and Reach Ladies. We are all part of one nation, and without war we are never united. But we must cast down these fools. Where is the church in this? Is there no amount of soul's light, of shining power, is going to protect us from these shadows? Who's with me?" And you sort of like, he's like rallying and stuff, and people are sort of like, yeah, but then when you, like, him suggesting an alliance between the two reaches is like pretty not going down well. And everyone's sort of like, "Ugh. We must have courage! Courage to denounce our leaders! Courage to break bread and align with people we have hated for generations! The shadows that stir will be the end of all, regardless of your allegiance or your allegiance or your allegiance! No one will save you but your neighbor." And he's kind of like,
I tap on Renaus's shoulder. Your allegiance.
Do you agree?
this individual, now that you're looking, he's got dirty hair that was maybe once an orangey red or red-white. He's bare-chested with a tattered sash of indeterminate color. A lot of people wear sashes as a fashion thing. You've seen it here and there. Individuals in the various shops and things like that passing by. But he's completely bare-chested with just the sash, and it's like a greasy, grayish-brown color. He's looking unwashed. He's barefoot. Bandages covering up his arms from elbows to fingertips on both arms. And he's got his big wooden sign that says, "We reap the shadow."
Before he was mentioning alliance, so that seemed to alienate people from what you're saying, right?
Yeah, no one's a fan of alliance. Like, that's a really radical statement.
Before he had mentioned that, did they? What proportion of the audience was in agreement with him? How many were nodding and how many? I'm trying to see.
3%.
I was just gonna say 63%.
I'm just trying to see how the people
Overall, some people are like, yeah, why didn't they see this coming? Kind of initially a little bit, but once he starts mentioning aligning together, they're like, people are already dispersing.
Okay.
And he's like, you will fall to the shadow and you will reap what we have wrought. You and you. and all of us will fall to the shadow without banding together.
I was just gonna like, and like walk in a different direction.
And as he's like getting involved with some of this, like a couple of the guards are like, "Okay, man, sir, we're gonna have to ask you to put away the sign and lower your voice. You're disturbing the peace. The peace! Where is the peace against the... Unhand me! Unhand me! I'm going!" And he kind of stows his sign and begins like padding off.
Ta-ta now.
And he's like still waving his sign as he's like a banner as he's like heading down the way. He's going down Revelry Row.
Okay.
And with that, you guys make your otherwise peaceful exit to from the city of Solney. First exit from your beginnings as a formative adventure and a formative group of party members. As your destination is in mind, and you've been well stocked and gotten quite interesting arrangements with individuals here. We're going to end a little bit early tonight because I think this is a good stopping point. We'll pick up next week, hopefully. Sunday again, 6:30 p.m. To see the parties, the, what is it, artificeries?
Artifices.
We're workshopping
The artifices, name pending, their next adventure as they go forth to investigate Anetka's family's fate in the town of Bright Meadow. So stay tuned, pick us up next week, and also have a look out for us on YouTube. We'll be putting I usually try and get these up in the next couple days, and follow us on social media at DragonPoetSociety or DragonPoetSociety.com. So thanks everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
Oh man, sorry for the sillies.